Hello, and welcome back to Counterpoint Collective. Today we're going to be taking the fonts that we used last time and implementing them into a fun design challenge. This is how it's going to work.
For today's challenge, we'll be creating a randomly assigned design brief. To do this, we've created 3 different spinning wheels. The first wheel will tell us what we're going to be designing, for example, a t-shirt or a business card or a movie poster. The second wheel gives us a random asset we have to use, for example, a texture or a photo or a pattern, something like that. The third wheel gives us a bonus challenge, just something to spice it up a little bit. Now, it's time to get started. Let's spin that first wheel.
All right, let's see what I get. No, that's the one I didn't want. I did not want the business card. Dang it. Okay, so I have to make a business card for Counterpoint Collective using the 2 fonts that we made last week. All right, time for me to spin to see what assets I have to use. Oh, dude, that's sick. I got vintage photo. That's going to be so interesting on our business card. All right, now to see what additional challenge I have. Color freeze. This challenge, I have to select only one of our colors from our color palette to use, as well as black and white. So for my business cards, I wanted to keep it fairly simple, strictly just Counterpoint Collective, my name, title, and contact method. I didn't want to give out any personal information, so I just put down our social media handle instead of putting in email, phone number, that sort of thing. However, we have deleted our TikTok, so you can't find us on TikTok under Counterpoint Collective, but you can still find us on Instagram and YouTube. I chose yellow to be the color from our color palette that I was sticking with. The most difficult part about this challenge was using a vintage photograph. Luckily, I was able to find this really cool picture of the surface of the moon. I was kind of having a hard time figuring out what to do with it and how to implement it. I decided to just use it as sort of a texture background kind of image. Using both of the fonts was also a very interesting challenge. I decided that having the name and the title and the social media handle being in Sammy's handwritten font would work better than writing out Counterpoint Collective. It gives it a very personal feel. And I think it actually turned out really nicely. On the back of the card, I kept it very simple with our logo and then put in our little tagline, different by design.
Okay, I'm gonna spin my first wheel to see what my end product will be. Crossing my fingers that I don't get a business card like DJ. Okay, social media promo, I can do that. I think that'll be fun. Interesting with my handwriting on it, but not as bad as having to put my handwriting on a business card, which DJ will have to do, so considering myself lucky here. Okay, here is spin number 2 for me. Oh, okay. Hand-drawn illustration. This one is gonna push me because I do not do a lot of illustrations hand-drawn. That is not my strong suit, but I am excited because I love a challenge. Okay, and now let's spin our third wheel to figure out what my bonus challenge will be. Ready? Okay, a one-handed tool lock. Now what this one means is that for 5 minutes, I can only design using one hand, which actually, coming from someone crazy, but I actually don't use a mouse when I design. Most of the time I just use my trackpad. So this will slow me down with because I won't have use of shortcuts, but I have high hopes that this won't slow me down too bad. But we shall see, because it might prove to be more difficult than I think it is. For my social media post, I started by just using a piece of paper to draw out some fun elements that I thought I could incorporate into this little clip that I wanted to make. I did some stars and some scribbles and just some other shapes. I did it on a black piece of paper and then also a off-white piece of paper. I really liked just kind of the exploration of creating something with my hands. Then I pulled it into Photoshop and kind of played with some background ideas and just a little bit like how I wanted it to look, and then I brought everything into After Effects and placed it all together. I loved the kind of repeating elements of Counterpoint Collective popping in and out of the frame, along with the check out our new video, and then with those elements that I had drawn out popping in and out of the frame as well. Towards the end, I changed all of the red to our yellow color. In the end, I think I created something that fits the Counterpoint brand and that we could also use in the future to promote new videos. Thanks so much for watching.